All right, guys. Looks like I'm live. Looks like this thing might be working. Quality of the video, but people say it works, so we'll see what happens. Hey, Dominic, what's up? All right, guys. Well, it's a rainy Sunday. We know what that means. It means comic book talk, because back in the day when you were a kid and it was raining outside, it always seemed to be on a Sunday and you'd get a stack of comics. And there's not really a topic going on today. I just have about probably an hour to kill. Hey, what's up? Ooh, man, everybody's getting in here already. Stephen Moore from the UK, Dominic Rocco, Matilda Gothica. What's up, guys? All right, glad everybody's jumping in here. Well, a strange thing has happened this week between work and hanging out and doing things. I've actually done something that seems to be uncalled for here on YouTube lately, over the past few months and stuff like that. But I've actually been reading. I've actually been reading my comics. And been looking at some comic book news and all sorts of little things going on. It has some interesting conversations. So I figured I'd just throw it out there. Yeah, Matilda Gothica has Instagram to throw out there real quick. And she did this fantastic piece that I just loved of the Joker. So keep it up, Matilda. I think you're really finding your way with some of the stuff you're doing. See, I picked up 10 70s, 80s boxes the other day. I'm assuming you got 10 boxes of comics and they're from the 70s and 80s, Stephen. So that is awesome, man. If you're making videos, go ahead and get and stuff. I'd love to see what you have out there. All right, awesome, man. That is awesome. Oh man, that's a freaking haul and a half, man. Congratulations. I need your address. I have some comics for you. Shrinking my collection. Oh, cool, man. Dominic, sure. Just send me a message, and as soon as this is over with, I will reply to the message. You can get me on Twitter, Mouse, and I'll provide you a P.O. box. Okay, I don't want to put it public here, but if you can find me on Twitter or a direct message here on YouTube, YouTube doesn't really let me know when I have messages, so I will make sure to check. It's because I'm expecting it. But yeah, Twitter is Howler Mouse are here. Thank you, man. That's awesome. Stephen Moore is talking more about his books, nice whole runs. Yeah, I definitely want to see it, Stephen. And I'm so many people that I can't recall if you have a channel or not, but I definitely want to do it. I have some vids up of older stuff. Okay, I'm definitely want to check you out after this. I'm probably already subscribed. 29,000 comics. You had me beat, man. You had me beat by about 15,000. You probably have like almost double my collection. That's fantastic. Thanks, Dominic, man. That's awesome. All right, guys, this is fantastic, man. I love this little community here and stuff, right? Yeah, this collection that gets silly. If I spun this around, as you can see in there, I've had shelves collapse a few months ago, and I took what survived and put DVDs on them and stuff. I'm going to really want to have to dedicate myself. The messages thing on YouTube is dead, Mr. H. Yeah. Don't know if I'd sell them after I read the sets. Okay, people are talking. But anyway, getting back to the show, we're 3 minutes in. That's pretty good. But a funny thing has happened. I've actually been reading my books. One of the reasons I don't have a haul video. Another thing is that I'm also going to be going to Baltimore Comic-Con at the end of the month. So, we'll get some books in and stuff, right? But anybody that's watched my channel knows that I'm working my way through the 300 issues of Cerebus. One big story is what I'm finding out it is, as I've always suspected. And I've probably read at least 200 issues, and I'm reading stories like this complete now instead of an issue here and an issue there. And that's the way you have to read it. And I've always told people stop at issue 150 or stop at 200. I may have to go back on that. It's amazing when you sit down and you don't just read a little story here and a little story there. When you read a piece of work like this all at once, you're sort of like wondering, when is this thing going to become boring and dull and stuff? Because reading individual issues or reading some of these out of the sequence, yeah, that's what happened. Now, I know there's going to be issues later on that are unbearable, and we'll get there, and I'll talk about them stuff. But I just kind of want to go back and retract, man. Check out Cerebus. Try to read it in order if you can, man. It's much better that way. Some of these stories hold up on their own. Some of these issues might hold up on their own, but he definitely really did write a 300-page story or 300-issue story. Yeah, Stephen, I kind of recommend Cerebus. I really enjoy it. I'd get Church and State 1 and 2 and just jump in there is what I would do. Then you can back up with High Society. You can find a list of him. Right here is my collection of the most of the phone books where they collect the stories. And then this shelf here, this is about 200 and a little bit over 200 issues of Cerebus. And I think I'm down to like needing 70 issues. Yeah, the Spawn comic, I actually have it here somewhere. It might just be, I might be able to grab it here, but that Spawn issue is fantastic. No. But anyway, sitting down and actually reading it. What we got, Steve? Yeah, we'll just look at the chat here, man, and I can move on, man. The Spawn comic, Spawn number 10 is the issue that Dave Sim wrote, and it was a really symbolic story about keeping your characters' rights, not selling out. And it was really a statement on creators who create for other companies, and then they kind of don't see the profits from it, if you will, even though it was work for hire. I go back and forth on it. I'm all for creator rights, and I'm also all for knowing the contract you're in. So I don't like saying that they're all victims, but I think a lot of people were definitely taken advantage of, without a doubt. I had 55,000 comic, Eric Bean here. I had 55,000 comics at one point. My biggest fear was that they would end up on the first floor along with the rest of the second floor. Yeah, the collections really get ridiculous when you've done it for quite a bit. And I've had many, many times where I've looked around and I've been like, what have I done? What the hell have I done? What have I been doing? Fortunately for me, a lot of this stuff I have gotten from anything from 70 cents to $1. You know what I mean? A large portion of my collection paid for itself. I would find a key book or something in a quarter bin, turn it around on eBay, and then put that money back into the comics. It's only been up until about the last 2 or 3 years since the 90s that I've touched my paycheck for some books. I'm reading The Boys at the moment. Stephen, I love The Boys. It's my guilty pleasure book when I read that book. And I think, I don't know who it is, HBO, Showtime, Hulu, somebody's making a TV show of it, which I'm just going to be real curious if they can go all the way with it, with what that book does with The Boys. Okay. Scott Coggins has jumped in here. Dave is back. Yeah, Dave Sim is coming out. He wrote an open letter to Ethan Van Sciver on, I don't know if it was Bleeding Cool, Newsarama, Comic Book Resources. I mean, I read the article. And Dave Sim really comes off as odd. He supposedly really does have some mental issues, depression and things like that. But I also think that Dave makes a character of himself. Maybe he turns it all the way up to 11. And the man is a master of self-promotion. I mean, he's been doing it since 1977. And I don't think there's not one thing that Dave Sim does not do that is calculated. And I think he's made a character of himself. Right now, he's into the whole thing where he acts like he doesn't have a laptop. He doesn't know the internet. He uses fax machines that people act like are just so ancient. And a lot of businesses still use fax machines. Where I work, we still use them and stuff. So yeah, I had an album-filled bookcase crash like your comic shelf did. Not a lot of fun. Not a bit. And there's albums on here, down here at the bottom. But as far as Dave Sim goes, I don't care what Dave Sim works on. It's always great to see him working and writing something. And I think I've been told he's going to be doing 4 issues of a Cyberfrog comic, and I've heard he's only going to be doing part of issue 3 of a Cyberfrog comic. I'm actually getting people. I mean, I love how people are actually messaging me to let me know about this. It's fantastic. Yeah, but yeah, having a large collection of stuff can get to be a chore if you don't want it. And my advice is seriously leave the mess for a little bit and back up, because it ends up becoming work. And, you're just sort of like you get overwhelmed and it loses a little bit of, I mean, there's a responsibility with this stuff, but sometimes you just need to leave the comic book room alone. It'll still be there, get a break from it. All right, man. So, like I said, the weird thing is like sitting down and reading comics. And I've also had some great conversations. It's been really odd. Burt Reynolds has died. And this goes somewhere, don't worry. Burt Reynolds has died, but I'm always kind of curious on how there being like a kismet, synchronicity, or the universe trying to tell you something if you believe that way. But I heard more people talk about Smokey and the Bandit a month before Burt Reynolds died than I heard anybody mention that movie in, like, say, 10 years. And all of a sudden Burt Reynolds dies. So there's always like this kismet with it. And now here recently, I've had 2 or 3 conversations that other people have brought up about King Kong versus Godzilla. And this is a conversation I have to have. I actually am trying to get somebody on the show so we can have a little back and forth on who would win. From what Van Sciver said, Dave is script doctoring issue 1 of Cyberfrog and writing issues 2, 3, and 4. You know, I'm in. If Dave Sims is on it, I don't care about the Comicsgate stuff that's involved with it and stuff. If we're going to get a Dave Sim written story, there's going to be some quality there, no matter what. I mean, he's got a real writer on it. This reminds me of Image back in the day where McFarlane and Silvestre and all of them sort of figured out they really couldn't write. So McFarlane paid some money and he got Alan Moore to write an issue of Spawn, Dave Sim, Frank Miller, and Neil Gaiman. You know what I mean? So if he's pulling in a writer of the caliber of Dave Sim, I'm on there. That's a smart move. Very smart move. But, you know, the kismet of it is like I've really ended up having some conversations about King Kong and Godzilla. You know, and they're supposed to be making this big Gaiju universe where they take Pacific Rim and King Kong and Godzilla, and they're going to bring in all these monsters and make one big universe. And I'm actually really pumped for that. I'm waiting on it. And I'm of the stance that King Kong is king. I love my Godzilla, don't get me wrong, but the other thing is that it seems like I'm alone out there. It's like Godzilla could take King Kong. This is the way everybody's going. So I've had some actual fun conversations. You know what I mean? Like, you know, got to be real dramatic with it and play around with it. Sent some memes back and forth of King Kong and Godzilla and stuff, some funny stuff. So it's actually been kind of fun. What do you think of DNC, Mr. H? I really don't have an opinion. I think it's amazing that a guy, I said this in a video, a live stream about a week back or something like that. When it comes to DNC and they're talking about diversity in comics, he does his own thing. It's just amazing what the guy has been able to do by sitting down with a shaky camera with a comic book, opening it up, showing his socks, and roasting a book. It's just, to me, it's just unbelievable what's come out of that. I would do a live chat with you sometime if you ever want. Stephen Moore, yeah, we'll work something out. We'll work something out. As we get more into the cold weather here, in the States and stuff like that, I'll have more time to be doing this stuff. I've stayed really active in the summer here, but I would love to do a live show with you, man. We'll come up with a topic or just wing it when we get on here. So yeah, I'm down for it. I do film extra work in the UK. Fantastic. That's fantastic. I'll probably use my cell phone for that. And you were on the Justice League set, Stephen. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, we'll definitely do it, man. We'll shoot from the hip and to see where it goes. No big deal. But yeah, I'd love to do one with you. Okay. So some other things that have been going on besides that is all these live streaming shows that are getting announced. From what I understand, DC Comics is starting their own streaming that's coming up. There's going to be a Teen Titans show. I've already seen the trailer for that, and I really wasn't pleased with some of the stuff I've seen, but I'm going to give the show a chance, right? And then, see, Steven said he met the Flash. He hugged me for ages. I can see that. That dude that played the Flash in the Justice League movie seems like a touchy-feely guy. So I'm going to check out the Titans one, but the big one that's coming out for me, I mean, we're hitting a place where it's amazing me how 1980 is resonating with me. I was 7 years old. But we have a Doom Patrol TV show getting announced with Timothy Dalton coming in to play the Chief. Now, hey, Carlos is here. What's up, brother? Yeah. You've been getting props from Ingleteen on some of his streams lately. I'll check out Ingleteen. Awesome, man. I used to watch him a bit. Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks for telling me about that. Yeah, I'll definitely check out Ingleteen. Doom Patrol will be great. And I wonder if at this point he sees the whole yeah, Mattel, I'm really going to like steer this stream towards some of that right now. You know, I've said what I had to say last week, but you know, maybe in the future or something. Doom Patrol casting I'm pretty much pleased with. Yeah, I think that is going to be the show. That's the show for me, at least. I don't know how I'm going to get to watch it because I'm not quite sure where the DC Universe streaming site is going to be or how they do it. And my chat disappeared. There we go. All kinds of people are coming in now. The chat is back, guys. I can see you. Mind the Comics is here. Yeah, we're going to plug Mind the Camp Comics channel. Check him out. Ooh, I get on stream and everybody's messaging me now. I'm not really going to look too much into this. I'm actually getting asked to, I got some people following me and I'm actually getting asked to talk about a few things. I might look at that in a minute. If you guys want me to talk about a few things in the stream, go ahead and send me a message on Twitter. They're coming in. I already got like 4 just now. But anyway, yeah, the Doom Patrol. See, the two things that are amazing me about comics right now, it kind of makes me feel like I've lived, you know, lived the dream and it's coming true, is that two things that I've loved in comics have been Black Adam, since I saw him on a Saturday morning cartoon show that I have on VHS. Black Adam, 1980. Nobody, around 80, nobody really knew who Black Adam was throughout the 80s and stuff, unless you were in comics. And then it was the Doom Patrol. I love those two little books, and they're actually obscure even for people who are into comics, right? So now all of a sudden we fast forward here like 37, 38 years later, and now we're getting a Black Adam movie and we're getting a Doom Patrol TV show. Doom Patrol's popped up in some cartoons, don't get me wrong, but we're going all out with it now. Wasn't Kelsey Grammer recently playing the Chief? Now it's Timothy Dalton. Does anyone know what happened, or was I wrong on grammar? Yeah, guys, help Eric out on there. I never heard about Kelsey Grammer being attached to anything other than X-Men Beast, when it comes to superhero stuff. So, yeah, some of the things that that really blows my mind is to have these two, these two obscure characters, one team and one a character that I've always loved. All of a sudden, they're busting out is what it feels like. Do I think that the Doom Patrol is going to take off in their television show? I can't be objective. I want it to be great, and Timothy Dalton is one of the actors that I've always kind of been used to seeing. It's not so much I've been like a super fan. It's just that he's always been there, because he was in 1980, once again, he was in Flash Gordon, the movie. I have movie posters in the movie here and stuff. And that was the movie where I was 7 years old, where I got a pocket full of change because my stepdad did not take me to go see Empire Strikes Back. And I caught him talking to his friends in the kitchen that he went and saw Empire. So I felt like justified being 7 years old, getting a pocket full of change and walking the railroad tracks and sneaking off on a Sunday and watching Flash Gordon. Yeah, Prince Baron. That's right. What we got here? My ideal DC film show would be an R-rated Lobo film. And then Charlton 66 jumped right in there. Charlton 66, I've already talked about Baltimore comment. I'm pumped to go. Yes, Prince Baron. He was awesome. Timothy Dalton was awesome in it. He was better as Prince Baron than he was 007, in my opinion. Hope to go ahead with the New Gods film. That would be fantastic. Would love a Lobo film. Scott, you didn't really miss anything. I'm just shooting the breeze here. I'm also a massive Gaiju film fan, I guess. Yeah. Now, with a Lobo film, it has to be funny. It's got to be black comedy, violent comedy, something like that, tongue in cheek. A Lobo film has got to have that violence in that they can't rip it. They can't go out and just make it a full comedy. It's got to be witty, you know what I mean, and fun. I hate to say it, but it's got to have that feel of a Deadpool movie, in my opinion, without being Deadpool. All right, we got yes, Baltimore is going to rock. Yeah, and I'm working my butt off to make sure I can go all 3 days. I will keep you up to date, and send me a text, man. I got a new phone, and new phone's already been damaged and stuff, and then Google did not save my contacts. Only found out the other year Jack Kirby worked on the Centurions cartoon, which I loved. Jack Kirby worked on quite a few cartoons, Thundar and stuff. There was a time in the late 70s and early 80s where he sort of stepped out of comics a bit more, and things were not. He was not pleased with the way things were going, and he ended up playing around with some cartoons. Thundar is the big one. The actress on the Cap Marvel poster looks dead inside. Yeah, I'm not real excited about the Captain Marvel movie, but it's a Marvel movie, and I'm hoping there's a good story behind it. But the thing about it is I'm not going to give that movie special treatment. It's either going to be a good movie or it's not, and we'll just call it what it is when it comes to that. I'm not impressed with what I've seen, and I've never seen the Ant-Man, either of the Ant-Man movies. Hitman would be amazing. I mean, and they would have to have Garth Ennis on it to make Hitman what it is in the comic. You know what? I think I need like 4 issues to complete that series. I might get on that today. Negan actor is a Lobo. That'd be cool. I don't know. The guy that plays Negan, I followed him since Supernatural. He was the dad on Supernatural, and then he was the comedian. It's kind of hard to find a manly man in Hollywood these days. So, yeah, it's probably as close as we can get. But I really don't know. I think they need somebody big, like size-wise and stuff, right? Yeah, too small to play Lobo. That's what I was getting at, Scott. Thanks, Connor. Appreciate it, man. For some reason, I preferred Han Solo to the Avengers Infinity War. Well, good for you, man. I thought Rogue One was good, but Han Solo was a great movie if you forget, in my opinion, that it was supposed to be Han Solo. That should have been a completely new character. The only part of that movie I really liked was how Chewie and Han Solo met. That was really cool. I mean, I'll say there's things in that movie that worked, but overall, yeah, I thought it was kind of painful. He's meant to be the Thomas Wayne Batman. Yeah, you're talking about Negan. Yeah, I liked how two people from The Walking Dead were pulled in Superman versus Batman so that they could be Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne. It was hilarious. If I ever do a Hitman series, just don't put Seth Rogen in it. Here. I like Seth Rogen and stuff, but yeah, he doesn't need to be anywhere near that. Yeah, Rogue One, I give Rogue One props. That I like that movie. The tone of that movie gave it like this old 60s or 70s war movie feel that I don't think a lot of people realize. The guy who played Drago, maybe, Jason Momoa. How funny that you bring him up. Yeah, I think Jason Momoa could be a good Lobo. He's got the look. I don't know if he'd have the voice or he could get the wit out there. Acting wise, I don't know if he has the chops, but he's definitely the closest thing we'll have to the looks. Ant-Man is different. It's more funny than the others. Yeah, and that's fine. I just really had no interest to watch him. I even like Paul Rudd. My favorite thing with Paul Rudd is that he did the first lip sync thing on with Jimmy Fallon, and he did Queen. So yeah, that could do. Okay, so I'm getting told that Jason Momoa, I think his name is Big. Looking forward to the Aquaman film. I'm on it. I want to be seeing the Aquaman film. It's going to be different. And again, if it's a good movie, good. If it's not, it's not. We'll just call it what it is. But so far, I think it's a brave thing to do to call a movie Aquaman, period. And I've been a fan since Super Friends, as a kid. Everybody loves Paul Rudd. How can you not? How can you not love Paul Rudd? The way he comes off. Oh, man. All right, anybody got any comic book questions here? Because I'm going to start pulling stuff up here. See what we can find. Oh, well, what do you know? See what we have here. Cool. Awesome. All right. Get numbers and stuff, right? All right. So when we look around here, one of the other things I have been reading or rereading goes back to the 80s here, just to put this up here. There's a comic book artist from France who was huge over there. He's worked on movies like The Fifth Element and things you probably never even knew. What have I got on the back shelves? That's kind of what I'm pulling up here, man. But I dug this out. I was doing some rebagging and stuff, and deep in there, I bought these off of the shelf back in '88, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it's definitely the '80s. But it was Stan Lee writing a Silver Surfer story that's out of continuity with Mobius as some spectacular stuff. This is held up over 30 years later. What do we got here? This is awesome. Does that mean you have to call in with a question? No, you don't have to. You can do it here, And then for the Aquaman movie in the theaters, it should serve Curie. I hope so. God, that's funny. Funny jokes about the Curie. Have you read any alternative comics? They have some pretty solid stuff for an indie. I'm definitely going to be checking them out. Alternative Comics, actually, I met Garth Ennis. It's on my Twitter. I got it posted on my Twitter where I met Garth Ennis, and I think he was working for Alternative Comics at the time. And they put me on the website, and they've asked me before if I've read any of their books, and I definitely need to go ahead and find some of their books. But the only way I can find it is to order it online. But I definitely want to check out some stuff. I've heard nothing but good things about the quality of their books and the price. Mobius, yes. I've been putting my older comics in my like 2 bags, but it's expensive. And Stephen Moore also comes up there. It's like, I love my Malibu comics. Oh yeah, Malibu is awesome. Well, Malibu published Ultraverse, and they were original publishers for Image. Really gutted Steve Dillon dies, one of my favorite artists. Yeah, Steve Dillon dying was that was a rough one. You just didn't see it coming. It's like he just put out some amazing work with The Preacher there. And I think that's where he got a huge fan base. And he'd been on Animal Man before that, and he did an Adam one-shot before that. I mean, that's one of those guys you really saw rise. Joshua can do no wrong. Amen. I believe that. Yes, Mobius. I'm trying to get a whole run of everything Malibu. Malibu had some Malibu had some great comics, and they had some stinkers too, man. They came out with the gimmick cover of a bullet hole all the way through the center of a comic book, with the last page supposed to be seeing who got shot. Those 90s gimmick covers, man. I'm digging this, man, with everybody jumping in here. This is fine. I'm trying to get a whole run of everything Malibu. I think I've read that. A Silver Surfer annual, which just came out with art by a Portuguese artist. Looks like a Mobius Surfer. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. I've been waiting for some Mobius clones to come out for years, as influential as he is. Anyone remember E-Man villain, the E-Man villain Mylar Snuggs? Oh, that's funny. You had me. I thought that E-Man was an awesome book by Joe Staton and stuff. I don't think Punisher Garth Steve will ever be beaten. Definitely one of the teams that should be praised right there with Kirby and Lee, Claremont and Byrne. I think what they did in that book was amazing. I had that bullet hole cover. Yeah, Steve, yeah. Charles comes there saying not Joshua. I've read so much here. Stephen, if you use 4mm Mylars, you won't need backing boards. Well played. Scott Connor knows his comics, guys. Listen up to him there. I've seen Scott Connor's collection at his place and stuff, and it's amazing. It's really amazing. There's a Marvel Tales cover where Mobius draws Morbius. Oh, I need to find that. That's from Dave Enrique. I think that's what it says. Okay, thanks. Yeah, awesome, man. But anyway, it was really cool to kind of pull out some books and actually be reading them. And this is out of continuity. It's epic. It's a bit more adult than what you're used to seeing in there. And it was just really fantastic. This is one of the books that I'm kind of glad I held on to over the years. So finding the 2-issue Stan Lee, it really gets more into the religion aspect of it. Because when it comes to Galactus and the Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four, years ago I did a video where I was trying to talk about some religion in comics. But we always figured that the way it was always read, why this was the coming of Galactus was a brave story in the late 60s and stuff, is that, Fantastic Four was man. They pulled in biblical elements with the coming of Galactus that was coming with the stones in the sky and the skies turning into fire and all these things the Watcher was doing to try to hide Earth from Silver Surfer and Galactus. It pulled from biblical elements. And then all of a sudden we get down there and there's Galactus. And it's like Kirby read the Bible and Galactus was how he saw God, is what it felt like. He even had a big G on his chest there. So basically the story was secretly man versus God. And then you had Silver Surfer come in, and he's this big shining beautiful creature here, and everybody kind of got the idea that he was like a Jesus Christ figure. Well, now that I've read it and I've gotten older and I've really thought about this stuff, I've always kind of seen Silver Surfer more like Lucifer Morningstar falling to hell, which is Earth. He was trapped for betraying Galactus. If you get what I'm saying. So here's this beautiful shiny creature that glides through space and everything like that. It gets his humanity back, but I was like, when you read the stuff and it gets pretty deep, I'm like, damn. And this kind of touches on more of the worship and the religious aspects of Galactus coming to Earth. Oh, what we got here? Hey, Tim. Yeah, I've lost a few here. Hey, Tim. Ennis Dillon, Hellblazer, what a run. Yeah, that Hellblazer run, I'm trying to get the 300 issues of the Vertigo series and stuff, and everything like that. And I'm coming around to getting to that now. I'm finding like about the first 100 issues of Hellblazer I think are solid, and they kind of good stories, bad stories here and there. Hi Tim, 26 minutes in, YouTube finally warns me. Yeah, I could bitch about YouTube all day long, but I keep trying to remember it's a platform that we can keep going with. I try to be positive, but it pisses me off so bad. They lost a video last week of mine, and I just lost the chat. And the chat's going to refresh, and we'll be back here hopefully in just a minute. So I'm going to wait on the chat. There we go. Wasn't King Herod looking for the baby Jesus to kill him? That's Vincizio and stuff. I can't do Bible trivia right now, man. I've never claimed to be astute when it comes to the Bible. Certain stories I know, things like that. That's a pretty good analogy. I guess we're talking about my analogy of Galactus, Lucifer, Morningstar, Silver Surfer, Man, God. Yeah, that's what I mean. Some of these comics can be pretty deep when you read them two ways. They can be a straight superhero story, or you can kind of get what they were getting at. And that's one of the things I try to give Stan Lee more credit from. I got to remember that the man is capable of writing, not just taking credit, you know. Yeah, Stephen Moore said he's read the whole Vertigo Hellblazer run. Yeah, I'm finding that to be bits and pieces. Jason Aaron had a run that I thought I was going to like. I think it was a 3-issue story, and he was pulling in punk rock. And I love my punk rock. But he had something going on in that book that I never finished the story. It was the first time Jason Aaron is responsible. It was the first time that something happened in a comic book that I set it down and walked away, and I will never go back and read it. You know what I mean? It was just too much for me. You know, I'm not going to tell people don't go read it. I'm not going to, like, you know, get them, you know, raise hell about it. But it was a story where things just went too far. And I was like, I just set it down and walked away, you know. We are heathens in the UK. We only worship cups of tea. It's funny. And I'm going to take a drink of coffee on that. Matilda, if you want to find out what happened in that Hellblazer book, basically, we're just going to say there's a young boy who was having a hallucination of making love to a girl, and then you've come to find out that he wasn't making love to a girl. We'll just put it that way. You find out what he was making love to, and you just kind of like, it was too much for me. Too much. Here we go. Chat went out again. Yeah, because we're just going to do a Q&A on this. Everybody's talking. We got a lot of people here. This will work. Yeah, I'm totally seeing he could be both a Jesus Christ and a Lucifer figure, which is interesting since Lucifer is Antichrist. Yeah, but Lucifer also started out as the most beautiful angel, I guess is the word. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they did an exact metaphorical story, symbolic story of the Bible of Lucifer falling and stuff, but I just found it really, if you read Stan Lee's older Silver Surfer stuff, he was kind of preachy. It was all about morality, and Stan Lee used Silver Surfer as a vessel for what his thoughts were on humanity and stuff like that. What about Crossed Comic? Is there any worse than that? The Crossed Comic is the one that Garth Ennis does, where it's just anarchy and debauchery and stuff like that. And I've always said that is the comic where people pulled their Playboys proudly out of their closet and said they read Playboy so they could hide Crossed. People who collect Crossed, they're out there. They don't really... You know, I've never, in my area at least, there's people that read Cross and they admit it, but you have characters called Horsecock, and you have the biscuit game and all this stuff that goes on in that book. My. More Hellblazer Swamp Thing stories. Absolutely, man. But I'm stuck on those originals, the Alan Moore stuff, Jamie Delano stuff, the Garth Ennis stuff. You know, actually going back into the 80s into the 90s, I think that's where some of the best stuff is. And with Swamp Thing, the Bernie Wrightson, Lynn Wein stuff holds up. It really does. It's just fantastic. Swamp Thing is lightning in a bottle, guys. Lightning in a bottle. It was right place, right time, great stories. Really turned that character into something. Got Punk Rock Jesus yesterday. Have you read it, Tim? No, but ever since Batman White Knight came out, I've had a lot of people pick it up and tell me about it. So I may have to get that, buddy. My friend worked for Danzig's company years ago and treated him like crap. He invented the X-Babies. If I'm reading this right, Danzig treated people like crap. Well, you're dealing with Danzig. You know, Glenn Danzig, old school punk New Jersey dude from the late 70s with a Napoleon complex. But, you know, I love this. Stephen Moore's wife loves Cross. That's fantastic. Have you ever read Grant Morrison's Zenith from Studio Fitness? That may be the only Grant Morrison work that I have not read because I can't find it. I cannot find it. I'm gonna have to get on eBay and order it. Something about the Zenith, it's like it never came out around here, or you know, around there. So I definitely want to check that out. But when it comes to Grant Morrison's most underrated work, I think it's a 13-issue series called The Filth. It's like X-Files meets Rocky Horror Picture Show meets porn. It's just fantastic. You read that book, you really need a shower after you read each chapter. I love Ennis, but sometimes find him a bit hit or miss. Yeah, and I do too. I'm not one of those guys that loves everything that Ennis does. But when you get an Ennis story, there's always going to be a little bit of a quality there. You know, even his worst stories are better than some people's best stories. Yeah, I have the Essentials of the Silver Surfer. What's your thoughts on the Ron Lin years? Ron Lin years were fun. the Ron Lynn years where he came on with Silver Surfer, got his series. I want to say it was like around 87, 88. Marshall Rogers was on there. Then we had Joe Staton. And if I remember right, Ron Lynn came on there. Ron Lynn drew a fantastic Galactus. Ron Lynn was a very capable writer on that. Kind of too bright. I can't explain it. To me, I like comics that have a lot more black, and Ron Lynn is one of those guys that it's a very thin line, and you can get a lot of color in there. He kind of let the colorists do a lot of work. I don't know if that's intentional or not. That's just in my interpretation, but fantastic stuff. But when we got to the darker stories of the Ron Mars that came in there, Ron Lynn art was not appropriate for it. His art was fantastic, but not good for that mood of those stories. Yeah, Ron Lim, Lim. Yeah. I'm doing this early in the morning, afternoon, whatever. So, yeah. White Knight was better than I thought it would be. Yeah, it was not. White Knight, I'm waiting for the last, I think, 2 issues to come in so I can read it that I've ordered. White Knight was fantastic. And one of the best Batman stories in the last 10 years. They are filming the new Swamp Thing TV show here in Wilmington, North Carolina. Scott Coggins. I have been to Wilmington. I've got to get down there again. When I was in my 20s, I found Vertigo too dark as I was used to Hero Comics, but understand them more now. Yeah, Vertigo comics were intentionally dark in a few places because it was Vertigo, but at the same time, you got some very sophisticated stories out there. And sophisticated stories in a way they weren't spoon-fed to you. The more you read them and reread them, the more you picked up on. Very good stuff. I mean, if I had to pick one brand to go back and try to get everything of, it would be Vertigo. All right, everybody's popping in here. One of my favorites is Daredevil at the moment. I have not read current Daredevil. Just not big on Marvel right now because of the quality of the books. Let me make that clear. Ron Lim could draw an entire issue overnight. I believe it. I believe it. Ron Lim was a great artist for Silver Surfer. He should have stayed in science fiction themed stories. Yeah, I guess he is one of those cosmic artists, like one of those artists that their strength is drawing cosmic stuff. So yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, he had to follow the last 3 issues of Infinity Gauntlet after George Perez left, and he was able to deliver, and that's really tough. Daredevil rocks these days. Okay, Daredevil's always sort of been in a corner at Marvel with one of those books where it can kind of do its own thing. So if it's rocking, I'll definitely check it out. Injustice was great. It was like the Game of Thrones of DC. You never knew what was going to happen. Injustice, heard a lot of great things about that. I would like to read all of Starman and Sandman. Do it. Do it. It's not a chore. I think reading Sandman, you'll find yourself rereading some of those stories just because you love them. And when it comes to Starman, Starman to me is just, it's like Earth 2. If you remember Before Crisis, to me, Starman, James Robinson's Starman would have been a book set in Earth 2 the whole time. I think that's what kind of gives it its own feel. And everything like that. You know, Starman, I'm pretty much biased on. I tell anybody to read it, but Sandman is the one where that's one of those books I would give people to introduce them to comics. Sandman Mystery Theater, Charleston 66. That's what I was digging out here, seeing what issues I have. I'm determined to get that full run. I don't care if it's in trades or anything. Matt Wagner, Guy Davis, Steve Skeets, all those guys on that book. I definitely want that pulpy 1930s, 1940s Sandman Mystery Theater. It came out in Vertigo. Eric Bean, Marvel, 61 to 2012. That's funny, man. What are your current favorite ongoings? Well, Terrifics, but I'm probably going to be driving that. Now, these are ongoing books. Terrifics, Hillbilly, pretty much anything from Eric Powell and Albatross Comics. Really not a lot of books going on right now. What a lot of people don't know is IDW is putting out League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, the last miniseries where Alan Moore is supposed to finally be retiring. You know, I'm getting things like that. I'm doing a lot of fill-in stuff, getting a lot of Cerebus, fill-in issues, back issues, you know, stuff like that right now. I mean, really, when it comes to books that are out there that speak to me or read to me, this is the lowest I've ever been. Starman is beautiful. Yes, it is. I have most of the Justice Society archives to read. Now that will be hard work. I love Justice Society. You know, I love Earth 2 stuff, old school stuff like that. Things that pull from World War II. Fantastic stuff. Paul Levitz, Charleston 66 out there. I saw that Paul Levitz is going to be at Baltimore Comic-Con, and that guy brought back the JSA and All-Star Comics in the late 70s. He jumped on the Legion of Superheroes. I'm real excited to see him. Speaking of Justice Society, Grant Morrison starting on Green Lantern soon. Says he will treat it like a police procedural TV show. I'm kind of pumped for that. I want to check it out. I just want to know if I can commit to Grant Morrison being on that book. I may just get those after the fact that they come out. But I mean, you got Grant Morrison getting out there and doing some cosmic stuff, hopefully, even though he says it's going to be like a police procedural show. It's going to be interesting no matter what. It's not going to be a book you can ignore no matter what. Really looking forward to the Green Lanterns. I like the Terrifics. Yep. Terrifics. I'm still getting there. Let's see. Made Men from Oni Press was amazingly, but I think it's canceled. You're the only person I know that read that series there, Stephen. Guy Davis has now left comics altogether. Yeah, that's sad. That is sad. I hope he's doing bigger and better things because I loved his stuff with Magnolaverse, BPRD and stuff. And I don't think in my opinion, BPRD through the Magnola stuff never recovered from having, Guy Davis being there. He really set the tone for that universe, And Killed and Be Killed is great. Guy Davis has only been doing RPGs for the last few years. Well, good. I'm glad the guy's freaking working, man. I mean, Grant Morrison Green Lantern run is supposed to be only 12 issues. I think you're okay to get it as it comes out. Thanks, Scott Coggins. I might do it. We'll see what happens there. So, yeah, this Guy Davis, Green Lantern, Grant Morrison. This is fantastic. We're doing comic talk, people. We're talking about comics. Do you hear this? Just got into Saga as well. Wonder what everyone was going on and about it, then found out. When it comes to books like Saga and Paper Girls and stuff, I really feel like some of that stuff was a flash in the pan, and the only people still reading those books are the fans that want to know how it ends. I really feel like both those series kind of fizzled out, but I know people who absolutely love Saga, and that's what I'm trying to say. They have their audience. I think it's a shrinking one. Tim, I need to go. Great stream, though. Cheers from Scotland. Thanks a lot, Lou. He's also been doing concept art for Del Toro. Oh, that's cool. I'm assuming that's Guy Davis, Scott Connor, working for Guillermo Del Toro. The Nevermen by Guy Davis was phenomenal. So, oh, okay. Charleston 66. I'll definitely check that out. With the boxes I picked up a whole first print of The Watchmen. Oh, that's fantastic. I got a whole run of yeah. I didn't realize that I thought they went in the trade. I didn't think they reprinted any issues of The Watchmen to begin with, but I get what you're saying. If you got a whole run of The Watchmen, that's fantastic. I think that first one's up to like $55-$60 or something. Yeah, Matilda, Trial Saga. It seems to be, a lot of people really liked it. They just got out because it never went anywhere after like a couple years. The story just seems to be two people on the run with a baby that's growing up. My comic book reading group is reading New Teen Titans Volume 1 and Volume 4. Teen Titans, you just can't go wrong with. There's a few volumes that were messes of that. But I'm one of those people. I enjoyed the Volume 1 from the 60s and 70s. And then the Marvel Wolfman George Perez stuff. That's just one of those iconic runs in comics. Comic book channel that talks about comics. You sir are quite the rebel. Yeah, I've been told that. Yeah, I've been cantankerous. Contrary. Yeah. Contrary is the word, I guess. Yeah. Was it before Watchmen any good? Now, before Watchmen, Stephen, I was one of those people went into it skeptical. It's one of those things where I tried to keep the geek rage down for mining the Watchmen, but it won me over. Amanda Connor and Darwin Cook's Silk Spectre series is phenomenal. I liked it. I actually talked to Amanda Connor about it, and she thought I was insulting her until I told her what I thought of it. Ozymandias, Lynn Wine, Jay Lee, solid read. Then you have Straczynski, who came on and did Dr. Manhattan and Night Owl. I thought Night Owl was a piece of crap. Even though it was a crap. It was just a crap book. but he turned around and did the same writer did Dr. Manhattan, which was a fantastic story. And then the other one's Rorschach, I thought was a piece of crap. And Comedian, I don't know what they were doing with it. Comedian was just, we didn't get the comedian we needed or wanted. But yeah, before Watchmen, I ended up having 2, 3. I have them all, and quite a few are signed. Before Watchmen, not bad. Darwin Cook's Minutemen, of course, it's Darwin Cook, so it was good. Yeah. Also, pretty pumped up about Jeff Johns' new run on Shazam. I'm going back and forth on ordering that first issue. Jeff Johns, usually, I'm kind of wondering if he's just going to be on there for a year, like he did like Booster Gold and a few things to kick them off. I like the Jeff Johns that has a vision of years that he's going to build up on, like he did with Blackest Night. Johns on JSA is amazing. Plus, Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, man, they need to get this. They need to get this Doomsday Clock out. I'm not real happy about it being bi-monthly. Years I can go into that why. Years ago, I got rid of my whole Teen Titans room and just got the whole set again from the 80s onwards. If I can get New Teen Titans #2 with the first appearance of Deathstroke, the Terminator, as he originally was called, I'd be a happy man. But yeah, that 80s run, I love it. That 80s run, I jumped on with the Doom Patrol, issue 13 or 14 or something. We're doing a compare and contrast from Volume 1 to Volume 4. If only read Judas Contract, I like Judas Contract, but everyone tells me Volume 4 is better. I'm assuming Volume 4 is the Baxter series. Reading it like this, I'm not sure, but the Baxter series was solid for at least the first 2 years, in my opinion. And then they kind of kicked it into higher gear around issue 50, 51 when they were answering the story about Donna Troy, who is she and stuff, right? Because of all the crisis continuity goofs up. Judas Contract was one of those pinnacle. See, the Teen Titans book, when Marv Wolfman and George Perez got on there, the real magic of it is that he let the characters grow up. And there's a lot of undertones sexually and stuff in that that's tasteful. It's about growing up, and having relationships and stuff. Father and daughter stuff, son and father stuff with Cyborg, Trigon, and then of course you had Robin and Starfire. Then you had who was Flash? Was Flash dating Raven? There's a lot of stuff with those characters in between. Chat disappeared, guys, and it's back. James Robinson doing JSA was a lot better. Yeah, James Robinson, Dave Goyer, Jeff Johns, good stuff. This is good stuff. I mean, that's one of the most underrated series of from DC in the past 30 years. The JSA that came out like around 99, 2000. Yeah, love Darwin Cook. Yeah, Darwin Cook, everything he did was solid. I've never read a bad Darwin Cook story or anything. You love your Booster Gold. I love that Booster Gold. I'm waiting for the story where he gets ripped in half and dies. Robinson, especially the Golden Age. Yeah, Charlton 66, the Golden Age. I think we've talked about it before, man. The Golden Age, that is a mini series to get, guys. To me, it has the #1 fight scene in comics ever. And it was by a guy named Paul Smith, who's a self-taught artist, and he has a history of animation. But when you have the last fight scene in the Golden Age, it was 4 issues prestige format. To me, that's the #1 fight scene in comics ever. I'm going to say it. The only reason I'm okay with Doomsday Clock taking a while to finish is that all current events in DC Universe will lead to Doomsday Clock issue 1 by the time the last one comes out. I like that. We see Scott Coggins. That was supposed to have been a 2-year plan that Jeff Johns did. #1, they apologized for DC 52. Jeff Johns then let us know that all the comics will be leading up to that will dovetail and have something going on within 2 years. And then when Doomsday Clock went bi-monthly, that kind of messed it up. Everybody was kind of asking, how is this going to work? So we'll see what happens. I used to get all the Star Wars comics. See, they've been knowing about it for 2 years. That's what gets me. That's why going bi-monthly runs all over me. They've had this plan for at least 2 years. They could have had it, I don't know. Anyway, I saw something about Star Wars. Oh, the perm on Jericho. Somebody told me, I think it was Undisputed Frost, said that Jericho from the Teen Titans looked like a hobbit. And after he told me that, I can't go back. I can't see Jericho any other way. It creeped me out with the relationship between Tara and Deathstroke. Yeah, at the time, it definitely was. There was a lot of stuff implied, and somebody told me they tried to retcon that, that Tara and Deathstroke did not have an inappropriate relationship when they did. Absolutely love that JSA era, but Yeah, but yeah, Paulo was saying that he loved that Jess era, but missed out on some of the story when they started having spinoffs. That's actually, to me, was the demise of that series. Besides the fact of Jeff Johns leaving it. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, guys. Appreciate it, man. Don't sleep on Bob Haney's Teen Titans. All those hip cats and groovy chicks and Daddy-O. Yeah, man. You know, they fought the what was that guy? The Mod. Oh man, what was his name? Yeah, I feel like going over here and grabbing him. I got a stack over here of those Silver Age Bob Haney Teen Titans and stuff, man. Golden Age is still one of my favorite stories ever. Instead of focusing on all the typical GSA heroes, Robinson chose the ones that served the story better. Absolutely. The stuff that he did with Manhunter in that was my favorite stuff. That PTSD Manhunter running across America, jumping on trains. Oh my God, that stuff was so good. It's amazing that Jeff sorted the whole DC out in one comic. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Johns it's really odd reading some Jeff Johns stories every now and then, because some of the stuff he's done, like the multicolored Green Lanterns and stuff, we're around the same age. And some of the stuff that Jeff Johns has done back in the 80s, me and a few people were talking on the back of the bus, like on our way home, talking about comics. And we came up with some of the stuff of what if this happened, what if that happened. Now, of course, Jeff Johns' execution is fantastic. All we did was just have the ideas like a bunch of kids talking. You know what I mean? But he made it happen in work and stuff, right? Gary Frank is a phenomenal artist, but his detail is so intense it takes time to get drawn. Gary Frank is a very interesting artist because I've inadvertently followed him for 2 decades now, I think. Midnight Nation, the Squadron Supremes, the Supreme Power stuff that he did, a few other things. And the stuff I've been seeing him do in Doomsday Clock is blowing me away. To watch this guy get better and better over the years and stuff, to where it's like he earned to be the guy on that Doomsday Clock book. I mean, it's no wonder they're giving him time to do it. You know, but yeah, Gary Frank, some of the stuff he's done in Doomsday Clock blows me away when I can go back and look at some of his early stuff, like Midnight Nation. That he did with Straczynski, I think from through Image or somebody. I brought the Teen Titans comic the other day with Lobo's daughter. She seems okay. Lobo's got a daughter now. So the last cesarean now has kids. Amazing. Scooter. Charles in 66, are you bringing up Swinging with Scooter? Because I love that series. I actually do. I love those mods and stuff, man, where they either tried to be Archie comics or they ended up turning into them. The Mad Mod, thank you. The Mad Mod is one of my favorites when I see him. To me, Mad Mod is a freaking, when I saw the Love Glove in the Brotherhood of Dada and Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol, I thought of the Mad Mod. The Mad Mod is a character that I'm just waiting for Grant Morrison to get a hold of. Yep, Swinging with Scooter. Yep. Blackest Night was epic. To me, that was the last great moment for DC. I mean, really, the Blackest Night stuff. I have 2 short boxes with everything related to Blackest Night. Blackest Night was fantastic. Actually, I think I have 2 videos up where I kind of go through all the Blackest Night comics I had at the time and stuff. His art has changed dramatically. Yep. I loved Midnight Nation. Very underrated thing. If somebody wanted to do a TV miniseries that actually says something about society and stuff and relate to people that can watch this thing, Midnight Nation could be something that you could expand on in a TV show and stuff. To me, that's one of the things that's waiting to be mad. It had a Twilight Zone effect. It felt like a long, drawn out episode of the Twilight Zone. So if you like kind of creepy and things like that, Midnight Nation is good, and it's a road story. When Straczynski got on Superman, then announced he was going to have Superman walk across America, I was like, he's run out of ideas. He's just going back to Midnight Nation. He's recycling. They should make a TV. Oh, yep, that's what I just said. Stephen Moore is right there with me. Legion of Superheroes was my first Gary Frank experience. Oh man, and yeah, I think that was was it Action Comics that we did that in, because I have them in trade and I had the issues. The Legion of Superheroes was just fantastic. Gary Frank did for those guys. Gary Frank and the Hulk was incredible. I'll see myself out. I don't think I've seen Gary Frank on the Hulk. I don't think I have those. Have you ever read Archie versus Predator? It's so dark. It's funny you say that, because that's actually a book I'm going to be getting rid of. It's actually right here. I have the first issue here somewhere. Didn't like it. I mean, I'm not going to bash it and stuff, but I don't think I like the writer on it. But yeah, it's right here. I actually have Archie versus Predator right here somewhere. It's like if I got up and walked around, it's here in the floor around me somewhere. I'm working my way through all your videos at the moment, like a stalker. Nice to talk to someone about comics. Yeah, yeah. Scott Connor's done that also and stuff, man. But like I said, I probably have 10 videos I'm proud of. The rest of them, you know, some I'll apologize for, and some, you know, good luck with it, man. Rising Stars was good as well. Rising Stars. When Rising Stars came out, there are articles you can find on Wizard Magazine and a few things online. And they turned around. They were trying to say that Rising Stars may be the thing that finally dethroned Watchmen. And I laughed. Rising Stars is good. I finally had the whole run. I have one of the little paperback books that they did a novelization of the Rising Stars. But, sir, it was no Watchmen. That was what killed the Rise. I thought it was a publicity stunt trying to get people riled up about Watchmen to notice Rising Stars. I saw it as a publicity stunt. There's no way in the world I thought that they were serious about this. Okay? So Rising Stars on its own is good. They should have had a better – Brent Anderson ended up coming up and finishing off that series years later. They should have had a better artist on that thing from the get-go, because there are characters you cannot tell the difference from the original artist on Rising Stars. Rising Stars is one of those books I got mad at because the story was getting lost with the bad art. Pride and Joy. I don't know if I've read that off the top of my head. Frank on the Hulk was really good. I'm going to have to check out. I wonder if I do have some of his Hulk. I don't know. I did lots of videos on my comics, but I hope you'll have a dirty scene, that you have a dirty scene of humor. I hope you have a dirty sense of humor. Yeah, I'm good. I can take a joke. Okay. All right. Yeah, he does. Scott Connor is like, yeah, he has a dirty sense of humor. Yeah, I can hang. All right, guys, we have been on here for an hour, and I have a few things I need to do, a few things to put up. Anybody got any more questions here? And then we might wrap it up for now, man. Thanks for everybody that's hung in here, man. This has been fantastic. Thumbs it up, share it, let me know anything. Gary Frank was on the Hulk from around 390 to 425. I'll have to check that out. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I'll check my comics. Seems like I'm starting to picture some covers he did. I'm not sure. I bet it. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I remember that. He followed Keown, Dale Keown, I think is the guy. Yeah. I wish you two told me to stream it sooner. Well, hit that little bell down there, thumbs up and stuff. We'll do the best we can, man. We'll do the best we can. I'll have to watch The Flash and have dinner. All right, Steven, you guys have a good one. Everybody's bowing out, and we got more people coming, man. But turn on the live chat so you can watch this. This is one of those shows. We might do this more, have shows like this where we just get in the chat and we do a Q&A and talk about topics people bring up. An Alan Davis clone. Yep. I remember him now, Paulo. Thank you. I do have those issues. Yeah. In my head, I think he draw the issue where like he was fighting a redheaded Thor. Yeah, I remember that. All right, guys. Thanks a lot, everybody. Y'all have a good one.